Da-na-na-na. I'm here. Aha. Hello, Internet, and welcome to A Drink to the Past Rants about random stuff for, because that's what I do sometimes. I'm going to make this look like a thing that I meant to do, but I didn't set it up well before I was here, so I have to drink. Today's beer of the week is coffee because it's too early in the morning for a live stream, so I made coffee. This is like my 8th cup, and it's never enough. I wasn't counting. I'm not sure if it's 8. Anyways, welcome. I'm going to talk about stuff. So first, to kind of lead us into this thing, I'm going to take you on a mysterious journey of various stuff. One of my favorite collector's edition thingies that I own is this Octopath Traveler giant collector version. One of the things that it came with that's not inside is the soundtrack disc, which lives in my car a lot of the time. I love this soundtrack. This is my absolute favorite game soundtrack of all time, so you can kind of see the box there. It's a little glary off of the setup and stuff, but it's not the best lighting in here, but you kind of get the idea. It's a cool big old box set. Came with a bunch of neat goodies, including that. The other thing that's not in here, I know, is I have a coin that came with it that is supposed to be like the currency from in-game, which is really cool, but that lives in my D&D stuff, and I use it when I need to flip a coin in D&D. Comes in handy if you need a two-sided die. It's sort of like that. Anyways, so the box kind of opens here, and it's got this whole pop-up book in here. Let's see, which direction does it goes this way. So, and it's got kind of a different pop-up scene for each of the starting locations of the 8 travelers from the original game. So you got Hanitz was that first one. This one is Therion's kind of little starting place. He's hiding behind the wall there. Look at Therion. You got who's next? It's hard to see from the back. Oh, this is the graveyard. It must be Alphen. And yeah, so it's just a really cool pop-up book. Yeah, it's hard to display this on the stream there. What's this? Is this the theater? Can't see the screen. It's kind of dark in here. I don't have the perfect lighting for this setup. And then this one here. Is this the cave where Ulbrich was fighting like bandits and stuff? The glue came off of that a little bit. That's no good. Oh yeah, there's Ulbrich there. So that's cool. Yeah, I've got this whole little pop-up book. There's Tressa's little coastal town. This one as the library. Good old, what's his name? Mage guy. He was cool. One of my favorite characters out of the 8 favorite characters I have in that game, because there are 8 characters in that game, and they're all just utterly fantastic. Cyrus is his name. And the cleric. Now I'm blanking her name too. It's been a little while since I've played through the game. But anyways, that's really cool. Now it's going to bug me. Ophelia. Aha, I remembered all the names. I win. But then, like, the inside of the other bit has this little compartment here. Somebody's calling me in the middle of a stream. What's going on with that? I'll get back to that. So, on the inside here, we've got some neat stuff. It had the soundtrack CD, had the coin, and it came with this little cloth map, which is really cool. It's a little cloth map of the world, and on the back side is the whole spread of the 8 characters. I'm trying to stream here. Shut up, phone. So yeah, it's a really cool collector's edition. Also had the game in it, which the game's over on the shelf. I should have grabbed that, but I didn't think of it. But I did think of another thing in my collection, Octopath Traveler 2. Great sequel, not as good as the first game, but I thought it was really cool to have physical copies of both. And then this morning, I found a Facebook deal to get Octopath Traveler 0, but there's a little thing down here, and if you know, you know. So this... Shut up. Navi, I will go to Death Mountain later, damn it. Anyways, so Octopath Traveler 0, if you know what this little bar at the bottom of a Switch game means, this is not a physical version, even though it comes in a physical container. This is the first time I've got one of these game key card things, so there's going to be a key card in here. but there's no. I guess there's the game, so it's but it's a download code. The data is not actually on this cartridge. It's a game key card. So I think it's a strange decision, especially for this particular game, because I understand that there are various things that limit developers slash publishers from putting stuff on a game cart if it's not got enough space, or if it's a big game, they have to pay for a bigger cartridge. Sometimes that can get expensive to pay for the bigger size cartridge. Sometimes, in the Switch generation, they only went up to 32 gigs, so if you had a game that was larger than 32 gigs, you couldn't put it on a cartridge. Sure, I get that. I also get, in some cases, I forget what developer said it, but some developer came out and was like, oh, our game will run faster on if it's internally loaded than it will if it's running from a cartridge, and that affects it depending on the game and the structure of the game. The development is something that I'm not going to get into myself because I don't know all that much about it. I know moderate amount of how games come to be, if as a casual enjoyer mostly, but so I can get things like that. If your game needs to run slightly faster, if that will make or break the game being a good playable experience, I support that. This Octopath Traveler, I haven't played it yet, obviously, but it's a small game. It says it's a 5 gig download on here. That's not a huge game. Square Enix, of all publishers, all third-party publishers, I should say, I feel like they got the dough to throw around they could have made this on the, again, I'm not a developer, so there may be more to this than I see for this particular game as well. But it feels really kind of extra disappointing coming from this massive, crazy box set with a soundtrack CD and a cloth map, and now, this is, it's a physical cartridge, right? But it's also, dropping stuff over here. It's also not. I don't have this game forever unless I download it and keep it installed on my Switch 2 forever. And I have Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 forever because I have the cartridge. Even if they take the servers offline and I don't have it downloaded, I've got the cartridge. I can just keep playing it as long as the cartridge works, which, those will last basically forever now because there's not even a battery on the cartridge anymore, which, with old games that was an issue, but now that's not even a thing anymore. As long as I can keep my Switch running, I can still play the game. So it just kind of brings up this weird debate, I don't know how I feel about this yet. And I do feel maybe a little better than if it was like a download code in the box. But it's still a little weird. So I thought I'd just kind of open up the discussion. I know a lot of kind of gaming discussion people have brought up these kind of things before, and I'm curious to keep the discussion going. So if you've got any opinions or comments, leave them in the comments below. They're right down there. And feel free to argue amongst yourselves. If a conversation gets too heated, I will just post a picture of a beer and send it to you instead of arguing, because that's who I am as a person. Speaking of beer, coffee is a great beer, except for it's not beer, but it's still great. I love coffee so much. Shout out to Benny. Benny's Burgers. You guys all probably forgot about Benny from season 1 of Stranger Things, but the OGs remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. But yeah, anyways, I feel like as a consumer, I would like to own the thing that I have and own it, indefinitely. And there's a limitation on how long I can own this game. There's obviously, I could get into the debate of whether or not you own a digital game whatsoever anyway, especially now that, companies can actually, remotely remove games from your hardware in some cases, or remotely shut down your hardware. That was something that kind of came up with why Chris, my podcast host here on Drink to the Past, he doesn't own a Switch 2 because Nintendo can do that. They can just remotely deactivate your Switch 2 and make it not work. And that's a whole other can of worms that we can get into at some point. But for the sake of like collecting and ownership, I feel like this is weird. This is a weird middle ground. I just don't know how to feel about it. It's weird. It was a little disappointing because I didn't know that this one was a game keycard one until I saw the little band at the bottom, and I was like, oh, well, crap. Which I'm still gonna buy it because this is a series that I really like. Like I said, Octopath Traveler, my favorite music soundtrack of any video game ever. Maybe my favorite RPG ever. For a long time, I was kind of comparing it to, in my top, like, 3 games ever. And it might still be there. I've got an Octopath Traveler background on my PC here. It's actually got this image from the map with all the travelers on it. It was like a digital promo thing that you could download from Nintendo for a little while if you bought the game or some such thing. I don't remember. But yeah, physical games. Where are they going? Why are they going? They're going because companies want more money, and as much as I like if you were gonna say the digital version is $10 less, and I can pay $10 more to have an actual game on the card, like personally, I would do that because then I would actually own the thing. And I know not everybody would be like that, but also like if it's just about recouping costs, like do that, right? Is that not just the easy logical out? Charge a little more for the cartridge. However much a cartridge costs, spread that onto the customer. Even add a little extra profit margin for yourself. I don't care as long as it's not egregious, right? If it's 10, maybe $15 more for a physical cartridge than it is for a digital game, I would pay that. Once we get into the like $20 more, like then it's a little shaky. On a game by game basis, I would pay that. But again, like cartridges aren't stupid expensive. They are not that much. It's like, I get it when you're adding up, you're hopefully trying to sell millions and millions of copies, and if you're paying $5 a cartridge, let's say, that's that adds up. Actually, I've got a interesting. Let's look up right here how much is a Switch 2 cartridge. How much does a Switch 2 cartridge cost to make? Let's check that out. $15 for 64 gigabyte cards. Okay. There we go. So, $15, around $15. This is according to Google AI. I don't know how that. According to the first Reddit thread here, it says Switch 2 cartridges cost $10. So, let's say they're even between $10 and $15. I guess that's a little more expensive than I was thinking, but still. Like I said, I'd pay an extra $10, an extra $15, maybe an extra $20, depending on the game, right? For Octopath Traveler 2, I would have paid an extra $20 for this. Or not Octopath Traveler 2, Octopath Traveler 0. It's a prequel, fancy. I would have paid 20 extra bucks for this if I could have had a real physical version on the cartridge. But also it's on a game key card, and that's like, because it's such a small game, I feel like that's especially the weird thing when we're getting into this. Like, it would have fit on the small 8 gigabyte cartridges or whatever, right? You don't have to do a 64 gigabyte cartridge, even if that one's $10 to $15. I assume the smaller ones are cheaper then, right? And even assuming they were, for this game, I would have paid the extra 20. For any Zelda game, I would have paid an extra 20. It's like, Zelda isn't a problem because I feel like Nintendo's first party IPs are pretty safe of getting a physical release because that seems to be one of the things that they care about as a company. But with these third parties, like, I'm not even sure if it's cheaping out anymore, right? Like, because a game keycard, I guess, probably is cheaper than even an 8 gigabyte, because I don't know what exact size you need to have for this, because it's it is just a code. So maybe there's an even smaller than an 8 GB card that I'm not into the know of all of the production specifications of things, but I still just kind of wanted to open up the conversation. So leave a comment below. What do you think? Are physical games ever going to go away? I don't think they will ever fully go away, but moving towards the future, like, again, this is a sign that a lot of companies want to go this direction. I feel like this is a sign that, like, more than it's cheaping out, if it is cheaping out at all, this is a sign to me that Square Enix wants to move to a digital future, and they don't want to print. This is like the middle ground that they're kind of trying to appease people like me, and it's better than it could be, but it's still weird. It's still weird. So that's mostly all I have to say about that, because I don't have anybody to discuss it with properly. But let me know your thoughts, and bye.